7:08, and I'm calling the meeting of the Economic Development Commission to order on Thursday, February 5th. And does anybody have any amendments to the meeting, to the minutes from last month?
No amendments.
I do. My name's Jody, not Judy. So I can make that change.
You noticed that?
Kind of.
I think it must
So
have been.
if what?
I think it was because whatever I was working off must have had a typo on it.
It's fine.
Not spell check, correct?
It's fine. Well, spell check would come out for Judy. It's
Right,
not,
yeah.
not an issue. Betsy, do you want to sit up here? Okay. So can I have a motion to approve the minutes then?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Take a vote. All in favor of approving the minutes?
Aye.
Unanimous? We can move on then. We have two guest businesses here this evening. First, I want to introduce you to each other.
No, just not.
Okay, you didn't take care of that?
Yeah.
Okay, so we have Peter, is it Kaufman or Kaufman?
Kaufman.
Okay, Kaufman of Generation UCAN, and which is located on Research Drive.
Same street.
And we have Neil Burns, who is CEO of P2 Science, Inc., which is a new business in town, which is also located in Research Drive. And I thought we'd have you both come here together to talk about why you located here and to tell us a little bit about your businesses. And so we communicate with Woodbridge about these exciting businesses that are choosing to locate here in our town and perhaps why. So I will let you decide who's going to go first. And then we can have a discussion with both of you.
Okay.
Okay?
So
if you sit over there, that's pretty much the standard place that.
good. So all right, I'll tell you a little bit about P2 and why we located in Woodbridge. So we're a renewable chemicals company. We make specialty chemicals from vegetable oils and other natural feedstocks. Our initial target market is flavor and fragrance ingredients. So we're producing ingredients which have some aroma or some flavor, which go to companies like Givaudan, IFF, Symrise, Firmenich. They compound them into, for example, fragrances which go into things like shampoo or laundry detergent or air fresheners or fine fragrances, aftershave and so forth. We're still operating at the lab stage. It's brand new technology, which in many cases gives rise to brand new molecules. So we're filing a lot of patents around the process technology and around certain compounds that we're making. We have 5 full-time employees. We just moved into Woodbridge at the beginning of the year, into the building on Research Drive number 4, which I guess has been vacant for a little while. It was originally built, we understand, by Bayer Corporation as a training facility for their synthetic chemists. So in that sense, the lab is really outstanding for us. It's really a perfect setting in terms of the facilities there and the space that's available for us to work in. So what was good about Woodbridge for us is a number of things. Most of our folks live in the area. We had started off in New Haven at Science Park. Got the company started there in a small lab space. We do quite a bit with Yale. Yale is a shareholder in the company, and we still use their instrument center on a daily basis. So being close to Yale was pretty important. And so where we are here is just, as you know, a few miles up the road. So our research scientists are there in the evening at Yale and in the morning dropping off samples and picking up results. So that's pretty handy, quite convenient for us. As I mentioned, the space itself is outstanding. So it gives us a fair bit of room to grow in terms of adding people to the research staff. The next stage in our development from where we are today is to go beyond the lab and into commercial production. And the first plant we expect will be fairly small by chemical industry standards, but respectable in terms of size for delivering product to the flavor and fragrance industry. It'll be about a 300 metric ton per year plant, which we expect to build as soon as we raise sufficient financing. And just knowing the area and the facilities in the immediate vicinity, we think that Woodbridge could be an interesting place to have that capability. It's not a large footprint that we need. And so,
how much space do you anticipate needing?
For the plant itself, I mean, really 10,000 square feet would be enough, so it's a pretty small plant.
Yeah.
But as I say, it gives us a decent amount of material for the flavor and fragrance industry. So what else can I say? I'm the CEO. Our Chief Science Officer is resident New Haven, graduate of Yale. We brought in a couple of folks to the area, one from North Dakota, our other research scientist, and the other from Colorado, our chemical engineer. And our research technician is also a resident of the area.
I'm sorry, I may have missed. How long have you been there now?
Just since January the 1st in the new building there on Research Drive. Prior to that, we spent just over 3 years in Science Park in New Haven.
Okay.
So you said that you were in the lab stage, and then eventually movement toward the commercial stage. Do you anticipate any approximate timeline for that? And also in terms of commercial product, Woodbridge, of course, with the Wilbur Cross, has got a very unique location, but it is proximate to some roads that are much more commercial than the Wilbur Cross, for example. Is that any kind of a factor as well? So kind of the timeline for commercial and then.
So, timeline for commercial, I mean, we've been doing a lot of work with an engineering company, a partner who's been involved with us since almost the beginning. So, we have a very good idea of how we would build the plant and the key pieces of technology. It's really a question of raising the financing. We have 2 venture capital funds invested in us today. And we're in the process of raising the financing for this next step up. It's a so-called B round of financing. We look to bring in about $8 million. Half of that would be used in capital expenditure for the plant, another half to finance working capital. So we're in the middle of that process. We expect it to be wrapped up by the middle of the year, and at which point we'll be ready to start putting the plant together. That's probably another 6 to 9 months. And then we'll be ready to start production. In terms of logistics and transportation, it's obviously it's important, but at the scale we'll be operating at this next plant, it's not what I would say is critical, because we're talking about bringing in drums of raw material and shipping out drums of product. So we're not that concerned with bulk freight or rail cars or ocean freight or anything like that. So the fact that we're in a metropolitan area in the northeast U.S. is okay, basically, from a logistics point of view.
How much of the facility are you using up now?
Oh, well, the total building, we're occupying a quarter of it, so half of the top floor.
Okay.
The space that we're in, as I say, there's 5 of us full-time, could easily accommodate 10 to 15 people.
Sure, yeah, I know it's a decent-sized facility, but that's not adequate for your manufacturing needs?
No, not really suitable for manufacturing. We need a different type of space, a little more light industrial, higher ceilings. I mean, really a light industrial warehouse type space would be adequate.
So maybe you should introduce yourself.
I'm sorry. Jamie Scott, I'm your neighbor on the next street over, so welcome to the neighborhood. I'm on Winter Drive. And in terms of transportation, I bring LTL trucks in, UPS, FedEx every day on a regular basis. And we've got some other neighbors in the area that bring in LTL trucks every day, either full truckload or less than truckload deliveries in the corporate park that you're located in. So that was a concern of ours years ago when we did move here, but we've not found it to be an issue at all. So we welcome you to the area and hope you continue to stay and expand here.
Great, thank you.
So,
And Jamie's a great resource because he really knows the whole area and has been through this. So I encourage you to reach out to him. Jane Anthony on the line, but I know that we'll send out, put out the welcome mat and lend any advice that you can.
All right.
Well, do you have any questions?
Is there anything that we can do specifically to help you?
Right now, not that I can think of. No. Well, there is one silly thing. We got a lot of cardboard that we want to recycle, but apparently you need a permit to access the recycling centre. And I guess you either have to be a resident or have a company-registered vehicle. It's all done by vehicles, so.
Betsy?
Get me a recycling permit. That's what
Okay,
you do.
Betsy's here representing the town.
I can help you with that.
Okay,
So
cool.
if you reach out to Betsy, she'll walk you through the process.
Fine. That's good.
No, it's
Otherwise, I'll take it back to New Jersey with me.
what are you doing? Or is your trash being hauled privately? Yeah.
It is the trash. It is
Because
yes,
at least
it's,
residentially, the private hauler can take the recycling as well. Can take the cardboard.
Okay.
So you might want to reach out to them first. And this is just anecdotal from my own personal experience. But what do you do with your?
We actually recycle it ourselves internally and use it for packaging material for shipping stuff back out the door.
Okay.
So we have lots of corrugated material that comes in. We shred it and then use it again as packaging material. So we're self-recycling basically. Ended up saving us a lot.
Maybe do you need some more?
So the significance of the name P2 also, I'm intrigued.
Yes, the two scientific co-founders are Peter and Patrick and Paul. So Patrick is my partner. He's the chief science officer, who's developed most of the technology behind what we're doing. And Paul Anastas was his professor at Yale University. And Paul Anastas is also a pretty big figure in the renewable chemicals community, popularized a lot of the original concepts behind renewable chemistry. And so those are the two P's in P2.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I'm curious. How do you spell Anastas?
Anastas.
Okay.
He's still a professor at Yale.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now you said you have two investors in addition to Yale, or is that you're including them too?
No. In addition to Yale,
Okay.
the two investors are Elm Street Ventures, an early stage venture fund based in New Haven, and Connecticut Innovations, which is sort of a quasi-state organization that also is an early stage investor.
And is your next round of financing going to be a private placement as well?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh yeah. And we're talking to investors from the very local to halfway around the world.
So if anybody's watching tonight and they are interested in investing,
Sure.
should they call you?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, please do.
Okay. Well, wonderful.
Thank you, Neil.
Thank you.
Thank
All
you.
right.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
And if you want to stay around and listen to what your neighbor's doing,
Sure.
then
Will do.
you're more than welcome to.
Thanks a lot.
Should I try plugging this thing in?
Yeah, if you can. I don't know if it'll work. It's very temperamental.
There's a password on inside the computer, which is
If it doesn't work, I brought a low-tech mechanism of describing what we do. And I brought my own cable.
That's always wise.
Might want to unplug the other one.
What?
So I'm not sure if you're going to have to unplug the other one, though.
That's a brand new projector. We had trouble last month.
Was there a bulb problem?
That was the old projector.
That was the
That's a
old-
brand new projector.
Okay.
That sounds promising sound. The lights on.
All right.
Do you want? It's working.
So I can stand here?
You can stand wherever, right?
Okay.
Cool, wherever. Sure. Do you want to turn down the light so we can see it better, though, maybe? Or
I
what do you
take my
think?
computer another just a minute to warm up.
No, it's not.
If you want the lights off,
Audio visual technology that actually works.
Just plug it in and
Audio
it'll work.
technology that actually works. It's a treat.
Plug and play.
Yeah.
Can't do it.
Okay.
It's missing.
Okay. Technology that doesn't actually work.
Yeah, I think I thought that ones for here were in the back though. But I would also think that she would know that.
Yeah, sure. Is there another alternate switch in the back or no?
No, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Yeah, I figured if anybody would know, she would. They must have changed because I remember people used to bump into that and shut off the lights.
It's too big.
Excellent.
Okay, and one last thing, sorry.
Quite all right.
Let's see if the sound works. No.
Jonah was born with life-threatening condition that necessitated achieving every 2 hours. His family, however, refused to accept a life based on feeding schedules for their son. We would go to sleep at night.
Alright, let's skip the video. That's not working.
We can hear it actually.
No, I don't think you can hear it.
What?
I don't think you can hear that. The speaker is not working. But that's okay. I'll just show a few slides.
Okay.
So I'm Peter Kaufman, and I'm one of the founders of Generation UCAN, a company based at 15 Research Drive in Woodbridge. I'm also a Woodbridge resident since 1997 is when we finished building our home. And I've actually had businesses in Woodbridge since 1996. I had high-tech IT businesses. And then our current business, Generation UCAN, is housed in the same facility at 15 Research, the same office that I had for my IT business. But previous to the Urbanos building that building at 15 Research, I've been at 7 Research, and before that, 1 Bradley Road. So I've been a Woodbridge resident and businessman for quite a while. And I have to say the main reason we came to Woodbridge was because I lived here, and previous to that, for 4.5 years, I commuted to New York City every day, and in 4.5 years, it added up to 224-hour days of commuting, so my number one kind of business objective became cut down my commute, and I've successfully done that very well. So I'm going to tell you about our business for just 5 minutes. We have a very interesting business, especially because of its origins. Our company originated out of originally a not-for-profit organization to help children with an extremely rare disease that one of my co-founder's sons has. I have a co-founder that lives in Cheshire, Connecticut, his son Jonah has a very rare blood sugar disorder where he suffers from life-threatening hypoglycemia, low blood sugar. There was a not-for-profit that the Feldmans first had started a number of years ago. That was followed by a company that we founded that's attempting still, even now, to cure Jonah's very rare disease. It's called Glyogenics Therapeutics. It's also housed at 15 Research Drive. But that morphed into a spin-off company called Generation UCAN, which is where we spend the majority of our time. We have a researcher in Glyogenics Therapeutics still working on trying to cure Jonah's disease with gene therapy replacement techniques. There's some partial funding by Connecticut Innovations. But as I say, we spent the majority of our time and energy recently, the last 8 years, on building Generation UCAN. So Jonah has a disease, as I said, where he can't produce blood sugar in his liver where people normally do. The kids have to live their lives eating cornstarch 8 to 10 times a day to stay alive. What we developed is a new type of starch that keeps Jonah's blood sugar levels at a livable level for a much longer period than 2 to 3 hours in one feeding. He gets 7 to 8 hours of sleep now at night. Parents sleep through the night. And that was the only thing that this new carbohydrate, we call it superstarch, as I said, it's a new type of starch. That's the only thing it was originally developed for. But it turns out, through some accidental discoveries, that we've been able to prove in a clinical setting, this carbohydrate has enormous implications for fitness, weight loss, and diabetes. So, the three characteristics that make it so important to general health all go back to one characteristic, and that's this one. The carbohydrate keeps your blood sugar very, very steady, as it does for children with Jonah's disease, glycogen storage disease, very, very steady for several hours. And there's enormous implications of steady blood sugar. You get steady energy to your muscles. You get steady energy to your brain. Blood sugar, glucose is the only thing that feeds your brain. You get far less hungry when you keep your blood sugar steady. So a lot of people now are losing weight on this carbohydrate and on this product because your blood sugar doesn't drop. Your brain doesn't say, time to eat again. You should be eating. And the other thing that's really interesting about this is we've proved this is the only carbohydrate, the only calorie source in the world, completely natural. It was created for kids and babies with a disease, so it's completely natural. It's less processed than oatmeal. It's one of the most natural foods in the world. It's completely absorbed, so all of it is used as energy by the body. None of it just passes through like fibers that your body can't break down and don't give you energy. And yet, that red line shows that we almost have no reaction in the body by insulin. The pancreas doesn't notice this carbohydrate because normally the pancreas produces insulin responding to a spike in your blood sugar, which we don't give you. Again, we keep your blood sugar steady without a big spike in blood sugar like other carbohydrates. And that's important, and this is the last bit of science I'll give you, because insulin has two functions in the body. It regulates your blood sugar. When your blood sugar goes up, it brings it back down. But it's also a storage hormone. It tells the body, store fat. Because we don't have an insulin response to this carbohydrate, we're the only carbohydrate that causes your body to burn far more of your own fat calories as your fuel source. We proved it when you exercise. We did an exercise trial initially. We're going to conduct more clinical trials this year. So you burn 3 to 4 times as much fat when you exercise using this carbohydrate instead of eating a Cliff Bar or our biggest competitor, the banana, before you go to the gym. So people change their bodies with this product. So just to tell you the progress of the company, we've done very well in sports. There are 7 NFL teams. There are 6 NBA teams. There are many college football and basketball programs and hockey programs. They're all buying this product where they all get free Gatorade and free Powerade. So we've done very well in sports. We've started to do very well in weight loss. There's what's considered the best managed gym chain in the country. It's called Lifetime Fitness. It's not popular here yet because the closest one is in Westchester. But they sell our product and they sell a whole lot of it and they use it. Their personal trainers use it primarily as a weight loss tool. And then what's really interesting to us is we recently licensed our technology, this carbohydrate, to be used in another company's products for the first time. And that company is producing medical foods sold through physicians, pharmacists, other practitioners with claims, medical claims for diabetes. They're conducting a clinical trial at the top diabetes research center in the country right now and selling those products initially for type 2 diabetes. But we've seen some really interesting responses from people with type 1 diabetes. We're not yet making any medical claims, but it's just a very healthy food for people to exercise on, to lose weight, and potentially to get off diabetes medications and help with that issue. So we've been in Woodbridge, as I said, I've been in Woodbridge for a number of years. We've had the office there for 8 years. We've had products for 4.5. And you asked what you can do for us. The first thing that came to my mind tonight was we should just make it a little warmer around here. It's so cold outside. You probably can't help with that. But we've been having a great time at Woodbridge. Our future progress, we have 10 employees right now, but there's only 7 in Woodbridge. We have people in a couple other parts of the country. We do have plans so I should tell you, so we manufacture that carbohydrate, that superstarch ourselves. But right now we do that outside the United States in a place where we incubated the technology. We have plans over the next 18 months to build a plant in the United States and continue to produce that ourselves, but now in the United States. We're not sure where. We need a food quality space, obviously, to produce.
And how many square feet are you looking for?
We would probably need, if we did not combine our current office operations with the food operations, we wouldn't need that much space, even less than 10,000, probably 5 to 6,
They can use the
maybe
other half of the
7,000
floor.
square feet.
Is the space at Research Drive food compatible? Is it? Do you know the standards for food versus chemical? Is it?
I mean, we could use food grade. Sure, we don't have to use food grade.
Yeah. Just an idea,
Yeah.
because we'd like to keep you.
Well, our folks are all located somewhere in proximity to Woodbridge. The furthest is my partner, our CEO, is in Westport. Everybody else is closer than.
Mm-hmm.
So, what questions do you have? Any questions?
So how do you market your product to? I'm a personal trainer for 25 years. I've never heard of you before, and I'm in Woodbridge. I also worked in college athletics.
Exactly.
So that's what I'm saying. Why don't I know about you, and how can I help spread the word?
Yeah, that's great. So we're all word of mouth. We're still privately held. We're privately funded by founders and friends and family investors. Why you haven't heard of us? We've so far been, we focused initially in the running and triathlon worlds. We are sold, our first store ever was Woodbridge Running. So they were the first store to carry our product. Chris Dickerson is a big fan. We're in several stores in New Haven, again, running stores.
Mm-hmm.
We have now done a little more retail, but not around here. We kind of happened into selling our products in the second place natural foods grocery chain behind Whole Foods. It's called Sprouts, but their stores are almost exclusively west of Mississippi. They just started building in Atlanta. We're big at UCAN.
So are you looking to expand into these markets? Are you looking to do more gym chains? Are you looking to do more college athletics?
For sure. Sorry. So we're looking to. So here's the main thing about our products, and it's too bad you haven't heard of them. What's your name? Sorry.
Kate Brown.
Kate.
Yeah.
So the thing about our products is that virtually every sale so far has happened through some influencer. It's always some sort of a word of mouth sale. So the first folks we focused on were in fact trainers, strength coaches, sports dietitians, nutritionists. We go to a lot of events. We always go to the Boston Marathon, the New York Marathon, the Chicago Marathon, the Dallas Marathon. So we go to a lot of those kinds of events. Neb, the top marathoner in the country for the last 10 years, exclusively uses our product for sports nutrition. He was using it before it was a product. There was an article in Men's Health about the Patriots before the last time they were in the Super Bowl. They called this their secret performance enhancer. So we got a little bit of attention, but generally we can't use the team's names, but that article was published. But yeah, we love, more than anything, working with trainers and coaches and people that advise other people about health and about fitness. So we're going to talk here.
Okay.
I should tell you, so we have powder products. Those were our first products. They come in individual packets. They come in containers. We have, as of 2 days ago, bars, which I brought for you all to try if you'd like. These are really the healthiest snack you kind of find anywhere. They have our carbohydrate, which I was describing, natural fiber, some protein, healthy fats, medium chain triglyceride, coconut oil, very low sugar. So this will keep you steady. You shouldn't get hungry because your blood sugar doesn't crash. It doesn't spike. So that's the way we approach all our products. They're all gluten-free. They're all food products. None of them are supplements.
And then are you also reaching out to like the endocrinology department at Yale, if you're trying to reach to the, you talked about
So-
helping people who are diabetic.
We've spoken to many of those folks. I was on the JDRF board for a couple of years, JDRF board. However, because we've now licensed this technology, as I mentioned, to another company to create medical foods for diabetes,
I see.
we're not focused on selling that in the medical space. However, we may very well come out with our own diabetes-type products for the consumer space, in front of the counter, like the glucernas that are on the shelf.
Sure.
We might very well do those kinds of things. By the way, just one small point for everybody out there listening. I lost 28 pounds on this product by cutting out an awful nighttime eating problem. But it was pretty bad. I put on 15 pounds in under 9 months. Next 5 months, I use this as a dessert shake. No more nighttime eating, 28 pounds.
Great.
I think it's wonderful that the town has these the two businesses that are present tonight to add to the diversity. We look at especially in the commercial district, the business district. We look at the businesses there and diverse businesses, different types of operations are really important to the town, and this is a wonderful thing. For somebody who's interested, and this, as you're aware, this meeting is being broadcast, in trying this product, in addition to Woodbridge running, is there a way for people to locally to obtain this? And do you have a web location, a website you could share?
Yeah, in fact, over a third of our sales are done on the web. So Generation UCAN, UCAN.com. You can buy the product and you generally get it in a day or two. Or, you're local, you can stop by our office. 15 Research Drive. That's not a problem. The Yale lacrosse coach is stopping by tomorrow to pick up his 1,000 lemonade packets.
All right.
Yeah. It's been fun. I had these IT businesses for years, and although they were interesting, this has been so rewarding. We get parents writing to us saying, my child has attention deficit disorder. Again, we're not making any claims for medical conditions, but nonetheless, we get these emails. I give him him or her your shake for breakfast instead of what they used to eat, which was bagels and cereals. They do much better in class, which makes sense. Steady energy to the brain. An hour after you ate your breakfast, you're sitting in math class. You haven't gone like this from a bagel. We've had people with write to us saying it's the only thing I can keep down. The other very nice thing about this product is it doesn't bother your stomach. So you can go to your yoga class at 6 in the morning and have this on the way, and it just won't bother your stomach at all. So people with cancer are telling us that they're on chemotherapy. It's the only thing they can keep down. It's giving them energy. So we get these really, really rewarding emails all the time. I had one yesterday from somebody with type 1 diabetes who said, I'm training to be a competitive CrossFit athlete, and I used this last week for the first time, and I've never been able to control my blood sugar high or low, and I stayed at 120 for 2.5 hours during my exercise. So
That's
it's
exciting.
just so rewarding.
Sure.
It's been
Is
wonderful.
there actually, Peter and I served coincidentally at the same time on the JDRF board, and not to divert too much into type 1 or into diabetes, but relative to the product, you can. If a slice of bread contains about 100 grams of carbohydrate, or 100 units of carbohydrate represents 100 units. Is the product as a superstarch something that remains a constant glucose level of glucose? It sounds almost like a slowly releasing and reacting level of glucose that stays. Is there a content to a shake, for example, that keeps present 100 grams or 50 grams of carbs for an extended period, 2 hours, 4 hours, 6 hours? Is it measured that way?
It's not measured exactly that way, and the reason is, remember I mentioned how this doesn't cause an insulin response, and so your body uses more fat as its fuel, as its calorie source. It burns more of your own fat. So depending upon how well people naturally burn fat, and over time, particularly with exercise, if people train on this, their bodies become better at using fat, because the fast-acting carbohydrates they used to use could be sandwiches, but more commonly it's gels and Gatorade and other sugars. Those things become less available to the body. The body learns to use more fat. So the answer is we tell people they have to experiment a little bit when they're exercising. I'll comment on without exercise in a second. But with exercise, we tell people they have to, it varies. 100 calories generally lasts someone at least an hour and a half of intense exercise, and sometimes lasts somebody 3 hours. So there's a little bit of experimentation. In terms of keeping you steady during the day, just at work, you take really just a scoop in the morning. In fact, my breakfast every day is a scoop of this vanilla cream. We add some protein to it, but it has the same carbohydrate. The carbohydrate, the superstarch, is what makes us unique. So I take a scoop of this. It has about 20 grams, 20 grams of the carbohydrate, the superstarch in it. Some protein. And I add a half a cup of spinach, a quarter cup of blueberries, a scoop of peanut butter. If I want banana, I mentioned it's our biggest competitor because a banana has 25 grams of sugar. I literally add 1 inch of banana. You get the flavor, but you don't get the 25 grams of sugar. Blend it all up with some unsweetened almond milk, and for the next 5 hours, I'm just steady at work. I don't feel like I need a 10:30 snack anymore. So, without exercise, very often you feel good and steady and not hungry for a good 4 or 5 hours.
It's fantastic. Yeah. Thank you.
That's been great.
And what is that other product that UCAN hydrate?
Oh.
Is that
So this is this does not contain our unique carbohydrate. This does not contain superstarch. But what's going on is, I told you we go to a lot of these running and triathlon events. People would come up to us and say, if I want to get extra electrolytes, what should I take in addition to this? We add some sodium and potassium to this because it was originally created for sports. In the future, when we have products specifically for weight loss and meal replacement, we may not include the sodium and potassium or as much. But in any case, how do I get my extra electrolytes? We'd send them over to somebody else's booth, go buy it over there. So instead, we decided to come out with our own complementary product. We've invented the perfect electrolyte replacement product. 0 calories, 100% natural, and the mix of electrolytes was designed for us by the Olympic dietitian for the triathlon team in Beijing in 2008, who's the person who originally got us into sports when we were only focused on the children. So he designed it to exactly match the ratio of electrolytes you lose. The average person loses when they sweat. But he suggested, and we did it, we doubled the magnesium because apparently most athletes and many people are magnesium deficient. Tastes good. You could throw in a bottle of water. Most people will mix these with water as well, but they're nice and smoothies. You can mix unsweetened almond milk with the protein versions. So anyway, so that's what this is. It's kind of a complementary product.
Yeah,
it's not specifically unique, but it's a nice.
Just to clarify the protein, that's a separate protein source when you said on that one powder there. There's no protein in that powder, so you just supplement with some other over-the-counter
No, so we have flavors that have our carbohydrate, as I mentioned, some sodium and potassium, some natural flavor, and then we have a couple of flavors, chocolate and vanilla, to which we add protein.
Oh, okay.
So you're getting both in this source.
Okay.
So this is kind of an ideal, we feel it's an ideal source of protein because instead of getting sugars and maltodextrins that sometimes are mixed into protein products that are on the market, instead you're getting the carbohydrate that I mentioned, the superstarch, which is kind of an ideal steady energy carb added to the protein. So we add it to a couple of the products for kind of for convenience for people that want their protein and their energy and so forth. So who wants to try a bar? Dessert time? You can take it home.
Thank you.
These literally, we just started making these. They came into our office 2 days ago.
Well, Peter, your perspective is maybe a little bit different than Neil's was in terms of Kate's question earlier to Neil. In terms of, is there anything you see the EDC, a role that EDC, something that we can do in terms of helping you, being a business that's been here for a while?
We've been real happy, where we are. Our landlords, Diane and Jim Obama, have been terrific. They worked with us when we were early. We didn't have as much, we weren't funded as well as we are now. Camera people? So it's been, it's been really good for us in Woodbridge. I don't have any good suggestions for you. I'm sorry.
No,
It's
that's
for a
good.
good
You
reason.
don't complain.
It's for a good reason.
How do you get your cardboard recycled? The interesting.
We actually have a bin, so people that pick up our trash give us a cardboard bin, a recycle bin. Yeah.
Great. Well, truth be told, full disclosure, I am a friend and family, and so I did invest in UCAN pretty early on set, and I also used the product, used it for years, and on the second hour of tennis, when all the other people are sort of fading, I don't fade. And I use it for skiing as well. I think it's just a great way to keep your stamina going when you're, even if you're an amateur athlete, trying to maximize your workouts.
Well, this is best for people that really aren't elite athletes. We have a lot of elite athletes using it, a lot of Olympians use it, but for the person that's just, for example, starting to run, they've never run before and they're trying to get up to that 5K, very often you run for 40 minutes, you burn 300 calories, you're starving, and you eat 600 calories. This doesn't make you feel like you have to eat your fingers after you exercise because it keeps you nice and steady. So it's really ideal for the average person that's just exercising. And the nice thing about it, you feel nothing when you take it. There's no stimulants in it at all. You feel nothing. You just don't feel energy drop. You don't feel fatigue when you normally would. Kind of a cool feeling. It just feels steady. But thanks for all the time.
Thank you.
And will you be looking for another round of investing if people who are watching this are interested, or how do you plan to
We're not
proceed?
currently looking for funding. We may very well look for some professional capital for the first time in the next 18 months and try and do something a little bigger than we've done so far. But so right now we're not really looking for funding.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Thank you both for joining us. It was really enlightening to hear about the different businesses that are choosing to locate in Woodbridge. Does anybody on the commission have any other comments before we move on? Okay. Moving on, we are looking to schedule a breakfast in the near future on digital marketing. I'm not sure why. I had a summary. I'm not sure if we make it onto the agenda. Jamie and I met with the people. Jamie, whom do we meet with last?
Bill
here,
and,
it's here.
Bill and Patrick.
Geometrics,
Yep.
and
Talking Fingers.
with Talking Fingers, with Ellen Scout, our first selectman, and with Betsy Agla and Tony Genovese. We had a meeting last week to discuss how they actually offered to help the town with some of the social media the town is doing, and so we took them when they appeared before us last meeting. So we took them up on it, had a wonderful meeting, and we're also talking with them about being. And Jamie, I'll let you take over because about the breakfast that they'll be the features.
The theme for the outreach breakfast, as we've been developing here at our meetings, would be focused on digital marketing. Both of them are very interested in participating in that, and part of their offer to the town is to help promote this event as well to the business community, and working with Betsy, help teach the town some of the social media tools that they have that they can share with the town. We can use the outreach breakfast as a way to sort of pilot some of these tools, and then with Betsy and the other folks here at Town Hall, take that and use that to promote other events throughout the town. Town-wide events, but so the focus of this would be the digital marketing. Both of them would participate in this on social media, and geometrics with using video marketing, etc. We hope folks like our guests here this evening might be interested, or send somebody from your staff. These business outreach breakfasts are to bring the business community together, get to know your business neighbors, and then also hopefully walk away learning something. So have an educational component to it, and using some of our resources here within our community with two of these companies that are local to us to share with us not just what they do, but some of the tools that we can all use. I'm in a B2B type business. You guys are in B2B, B2C. We've got some businesses that are serving just the local community, and others that are much larger, like some of your folks are much larger areas that you're serving. In national, I got a couple international customers. So we have a very diverse business community, and so we want to use these periodic outreach breakfasts again to bring folks together and then provide a little bit of education.
So anyway, so Patrick Volk, I see the names now, of Geometrics, and Bill DeRosa were with us speaking, sort of brainstorming with us last week, and we hope in March to have a breakfast, and hopefully you guys will come because it's very, very interesting. I mean, given the age of all of us in the room, we're all behind on the use of social media. And no, we are. We clearly are. I mean, our kids are much more fluent in this than we are. And we have two businesses in town that have really figured out how to use the resources, and they're able to provide product to get our message, to get everybody's message out, whoever, whether it be at the town or be it at UCAN or be it whoever. So I encourage you to attend, because I think that there are other businesses like yours in town, and there are other businesses who have different needs, and it'll be interesting to see everybody talk about how one uses social media effectively to communicate. It used to be that we relied on email, but that's not good enough anymore, because you actually have to have, with the advent of Facebook and the other venues that are geared to different age groups, you have to actually push your message out in a different way. And so that's what we're really going to focus on at the breakfast, and let the experts talk to us and try to teach us a couple of things.
I think we should rename it. The new buzzword is omni-channel marketing.
Okay.
So if we could even stretch it more and say digital. We can go to omni-channel, and which talks about the multi-directional approach to create a little bit more interest in the buzzwords and stuff. Just to your point of trying to stretch people's digital imaginations.
So I wonder, just maybe a little bit more detail, the meeting that occurred on January 30th, was that to go over the content and a review with Patrick and with Bill on how this is?
No, it wasn't. It wasn't an EDC meeting. It was a town meeting, and it was because when Geometrics and Talking Fingers presented to us last meeting, they each offered to help the town with their social media, and so that was the crux of the meeting, was how they can help the town communicate. Betsy, maybe you want to add something.
You summed it up. It's really about how I can learn from them and how businesses can be helping the town get the word out about this particular event and other events that the town will be holding in the future.
That's great. So I assume that means they'll be presenters at the breakfast.
Well, one thought is that we would do sort of a discussion. I could moderate the panel between them, and if we have a third participant, but the two of them alone, we could carry on a 45-minute conversation without any problem. And have each of them do a quick little presentation on one on social media, one on video marketing, and then open it up to sort of roundtable discussion, a little Q&A with the audience, and keep it pretty concise.
Sounds like a great event. Like it'll be a breakfast workshop kind of a. Has there been a date that has been looked at yet? Or?
I think we're aiming towards the end of March, but we just have to make sure. They offer
Item number 4.
But they actually offered to do a little promo piece for the town, right? So everything needs to line up. But I think tonight we're going to try to choose a date for that, and make that our goal to be able to hold the breakfast on that date. It'll be a little bit fluid until next 3 weeks to see what progress they make. But we've often thrown these breakfasts together pretty quickly. So everybody at the meeting was confident that we could do it at the end of March. I was more skeptical, but I was insisted that this was something that they could put together. But they really offered to volunteer their services to the town.
It's great.
It's really, really wonderful.
To the point of the omni-channel, we're still going to do that direct mail piece. We're still going to use the postcard, but enhance it a little bit. Put some of the social media links on there. Put the QR code on there. So we have that, but at the same time, build up the database so we could do more social media marketing around the event. And having a little bit shorter time frame, I think, is going to keep everybody on their toes and make sure it happens. And we don't push it off, but we didn't want to do it in late February, early March when we could still have snow. But then if it gets too late in April, we get into spring vacations, and obviously we have to schedule the folks here at Town Hall. And so hopefully that window is a good time. I mean, it's still about 6 weeks away. So. But the other thing we never talked about was location in addition to the date itself. So I don't want to forget about thinking about where we
I know that when we talked about doing initially in January, Ellen, who cannot be here tonight, recommended the JCC again. I mean, that works.
I thought it was
works
great.
For me, they now have Edge of the Woods, as we know, because they presented here on hand, on staff, on premises, so they can provide the food. Obviously, the town, we have a budget for that. It's part of our budget that's approved by the town that we can offer, breakfast to everybody who comes. And I think unless anybody has an objection, the JCC is just easy. If we,
I thought it was great.
yeah,
Definitely.
Great
and
location.
it's down
I
the
think
block
so,
for you
too.
guys. But I think it'll be really, really interesting to host with them.
Might need a bigger room.
That room is pretty big.
Okay.
We can always go into the
We
auditorium.
kind of moved it up a lot.
Oh, we did? Okay.
Yeah, so we had, I said we moved it up in terms of the last event we had there. There was still, we used the back for sign-ins and things of that nature.
I mean,
It was-
just because that was just a normal publicity, but if we do, with
Right.
the enhanced publicity.
we should be able to fit about double in that room and still be
Okay.
very comfortable.
Okay.
I mean, they also have the auditorium. So if we really think
Right.
that if we see the responses are coming in, if we have 60 responses, then maybe we just move to auditorium immediately. We can reserve both. But if we're doing it at 7:30 in the morning, I don't think it's going to be an issue. But I'll ask Ellen, since she seems to be the one. She used to work there, so she has contacts there. I'll ask her to look into that. Anybody have any questions about how we're proceeding? Do you need any help from us, Jamie? Because I'm really putting you in charge of
Oh, no, I'm
content
just-
and orchestrating.
We wanted to get through that meeting here first, and then I'll reach out to the two of them and with Kathy and make sure that we're well coordinated. But the date's really between you and Town Hall and with Betsy. So,
Okay.
I don't know.
Well, I think we were thinking of the week of the 20. We were thinking the week of the 23rd, right, of March. Sometime. I'm sorry. No, I'm looking at February. Wait, hold on.
Oh, they're
It's
both
still the week of the
yeah.
23rd because it's 28 days in February. So we're looking at the week of the 23rd in March, or the week of the 30th. It was one or the other.
So we want to coordinate with the Town Hall schedules, Betsy. So
Betsy, can you help us with that?
Yeah, I'm making a note of it.
Okay.
I'll take a look.
Take a look and see if Joe can look at Ellen's schedule for the mornings to see which mornings are clear, and then we have to coordinate with the JCC.
And then I'll just be between you and Ellen EDC Ellen.
Yeah.
Okay. And then I'll reach out to these folks and start putting those plans together.
And as local businesses, is there anything that you would like to see discussed that would help you in your business that with social media to see discussed at the breakfast?
For us, it's huge. I mean, it's a real focus of our business is how to get the word out through social media. So I'm real. You didn't just we're deciding the date. It's not decided yet, right?
No, but we'll let you know. And
I think it's great.
and we would like, and these two businesses obviously are being very magnanimous in doing this pro bono, but on the other side, they would like to, get business from doing it, and they're really just down the road from you. They're actually on Amity Road. One upstairs, and coincidentally, one is upstairs and one is downstairs. We had them here last week. One had been in Oxford and decided to locate in his home and decided he needed office space and to locate in Woodbridge. One of the things that I've discovered recently is that video production, which the other company does, it's Talking Fingers. Talking Fingers is the
Geometrics.
Yeah, Geometrics, which has been here for years. Video production is huge now because when you look at Facebook and you look at you look at the New York Times, so much of what is now our news is actually media. Is digital media. It's not just reading the print. It's filming things. So people are beginning to expect that from what 10, 15 years ago would have been just print advertising. They're now expecting to see in a video format. So and we were talking about this at the meeting, and just in terms of the town and other things that it's really interesting the way the world is evolving. Again, much more rapidly than we are. Yes, if we can get back to us with dates, then we'll.
Yes, I'll coordinate with you on the dates.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then this will be in between this meeting and the next meeting. Probably we'll set a date, and we'll just let it and we'll let you guys know too. Thank you. Moving on, you guys are welcome to stay or you're welcome to leave. We won't think it's rude if you leave. We're talking the next item. Kate has offered to chair the outreach to restaurants in town. And last summer, the Woodbridge Conscious Series had a Taste of Woodbridge night. And we as the EDC want to be involved and be proactive and make sure that we outreach to all the restaurants in town, give them a chance to participate, number one, but also to see if we can get a taste of a Meals to Go program going for each of the concerts. So there are 4 concerts, so it would really be 3 concerts that we do the Meals to Go program. And in that way, we hope that Woodbridge residents become much more familiar with the offerings of our local culinary venues and frequent them and take out from them. So do you want to...
I've been in touch with Jim Franco from the rec department, and I'm scheduled to appear at their meeting in February. They put us on the agenda there. So basically at that point, I think I'll have a better idea as to what they would like my role to be in facilitating this process, because they're really sort of in the driver's seat. But one of the things I think we talked about at our last meeting was potentially inviting the restaurants here for our March meeting.
Yes.
To give any sort of input as to what they'd like to see happen or their level of involvement, how maybe they'd like to see it rolled out for this summer, and then I can certainly relay that information back to the rec department or, however that plays out. But really until I go to the rec department meeting on February 23rd, there's not much that I will know to do other than to invite the restaurants to come to our next meeting and provide their input as to what they'd like to see happen for the concert series. And the potential to talk about doing a possible restaurant week leading up to the Scarecrow Festival or somehow tied into that. And there's also another sort of effort underfoot for an international type dinner in the town, and it may be a nice way to tie in since we'll be meeting with the restaurant owners. And the other suggestion for that particular event was to invite restaurant owners who happen to reside in Woodbridge who don't necessarily have their restaurants here. So that's a little bit different than what we talked about for the international dinner. But we're talking about trying to reach out to all the restaurant owners in Woodbridge, including the mobile venues. Right. So 4 Flowers, the hot dog truck, etc. So I will do that.
If you can get me the email address, if you can compile a list, and get me the email address and contact information, I'll make sure I can send out the invitation to the March meeting.
Okay, you've got it.
Sooner rather than later, I guess.
Okay.
And that way we'll have a list. And then Mika,
bless you.
Excuse me.
Mika, I'll send the list to you, and maybe you can send an invitation to them to sign up for the website.
Sounds good.
And make sure that they're listed on the website.
So the potential, the item about food service providers to appear at EDC March 5th meeting. Can you clarify that? I wasn't.
So the idea was to invite all of the restaurants in town to appear at our next meeting so that they could provide input as to what they might like to see happen with the Meals to Go program for the summer concert series.
Okay.
Not to come in and do what these 2 gentlemen just did in terms of talking about their business, but really just specifically to provide input.
Well, I actually think they can talk about their business. We can each give them a minute to present what their business is and say their website or whatever it is, so that because this is a venue for it's twofold. It's a way for them to communicate to the town. It may make them more likely to come, to want to come, because we're promising them access to Channel 79. So I have no problem with them actually, giving
so we can include that in the invitation.
Spiel about who they are, where they are, what they do.
Okay.
So part of our goal is, if you think about the 2 real specific points in time, the summer concert series, Meals to Go, and then a restaurant week in the fall, would kind of be the big points. Is that
correct?
Yeah, I see. Okay.
Well, I think right now there are restaurants in town, but they're not brought together as a unit. And once I think we are able to bring them here, hopefully as a unit, then we have the chance for all these synergies to occur, where we can say, why don't you act as a unit to promote yourselves? And we as EDC will help you and I'm sure we can get Betsy to push out emails, whatever that restaurant week is, giving links and giving them that venue, because independently they're not going to do that, and I think we have to be the catalyst for that, and I don't want to miss the opportunity if we get them all in one room to discuss that as well.
I don't want to speak out of turn, but I think in terms of restaurants, clearly we know who the restaurants are, but I'm very moved by the presentation from UCAN this evening. And while UCAN may not technically just be a food product, fitness product, perhaps it would be a very positive thing for UCAN to be able to be included in this, and to get the summer concert series type of exposure. Any thoughts on that, or?
I think it's up to Peter.
Sounds fun.
Well, they also have the health
If it's
fair.
appropriate.
Don't they do that as
Yeah,
well?
there's a health. The Rec Commission has a separate health fair where they've asked doctors to come and set up booths at one of the concerts. But maybe, can you mention when you appear before the Rec Commission?
Because it was any health, I was
yeah,
there.
yeah.
Any health related.
I mean, you're more than welcome to be at both, I think, but
Certainly
you,
could.
Yeah.
you definitely cross over.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's wonderful.
Well, I was thinking the same thing. I mean, you've got from that to the vineyard to the brewery to Mazzaro. All of them serve different aspects of a dining experience.
Exactly. Yeah.
I don't know how they don't all fit into this, but
How about we? Kate's going to come up with the list. You can circulate the list. Make sure if you know of there may be other things that are not that you're thinking of as part of this that are not covered by the list. So just circulate the list to everybody, and then we can make sure the list is complete.
That's a great idea.
Quite really nice to stick around for the rest of these meetings.
We have very interesting discussions. So, anybody have any other comments about the restaurant proposal?
Soon we're going to get people tweeting us things. They're going to be watching Channel
Oh,
7.
yeah,
They're going to tweet you something.
Oh no. Maybe we'll have to get someone younger on the panel that actually uses Twitter. Anyway, just moving on to number 6. This was actually going to be. I thought it was going to be the March meeting, but Kate reminded me that we were going to do the restaurant, so it's for the April meeting. At the meeting, when we went to P2 Sciences, we were talking with Jeannie Kozlowski, who's appeared before us from REX, which is the Regional Economic Council for all of New Haven, more or less county. And P2 Sciences was about to sign a lease in Waterbury because they did not know of the existence of the Bayer space, which is pretty remarkable because they really had literally, Neil said, we had the lease signing and I was about to sign it, and someone came up to me and said this space exists. And they did not want to be in Waterbury because Waterbury is much further than the machinery that they need, the instrument they need at Yale. When I was talking with Jeannie about it, she said, we actually have a database at Rex, but we didn't have the space in Woodbridge on the database. So my thought is for the April meeting, we actually asked the realtors to come in, as many commercial realtors as possible to come in and talk to them to figure out where the disconnect was on that, and how do we make sure, and maybe ask Jeannie to come in also, actually now that I think about it, to make sure that disconnect doesn't happen again. Because it would have been a shame to have missed them as a potential corporate citizen. So that's my goal on that, is just really to have a brainstorming session with them, and then to have some follow-up. If anyone wants to volunteer to do that, or I'll ask one of the commission members who's not here to really be the coordinator of that.
I would volunteer.
Okay,
to
great.
Sure.
Okay. Wonderful. Moving on, as the update on the Woodbridge plan of conservation.
Can I just add one more thing on the real estate, on the residential side, to sort of piggyback off of this? The real estate the residential real estate agents, and possibly at some point thinking about having them come in ways to talk about introducing the business community to new residents, or so residents understand, folks that are looking at Woodbridge, what we have, and just bring that aspect of our business community to our commission.
I think that's a great idea. It's a bit bigger.
That's what I said. I don't want to piggyback that
I think
event that evening.
That's
but
down the road. I'm not quite sure how to manage the residential brokers. There's so many in town. I mean, Mika, you and your wife?
Yes.
So I don't know if we would, maybe you can ask her, do we go to the different companies and
So
just
let
ask
them send
representative?
representatives would
Well-
probably be the best tack to
Right,
talk along
right.
those lines, because you're right, there's a ton of
There are- there are
Just
a lot.
each office send
each
one.
office sends
Yeah.
somebody, right?
Yeah.
But I think they'd be willing to do it. Certainly, she's whenever we've discussed it,
Right,
it's certainly something that's consistent and
right.
pertains to what they're doing.
Another way to
Absolutely.
help promote the business community.
Right.
It's more on the B2C side of things, but again, let the businesses know that there's opportunities to connect with.
And what's
you.
interesting is they have a lot of material that they use for new residents coming in that speak to a lot of what you're saying.
Well, maybe can we
And,
make sure we include them on the invitation to the breakfast?
Oh, sure.
Because they actually really need to push social media out to or push out their message through social media.
Mhm.
So I don't know how. I'm not quite sure how we make sure they're included, but Nika, maybe you can come up with some idea of how to include them on the mailing list.
I will ask about it.
Okay.
I think that raises an interesting question. To what extent they use social media, or if I think certainly availing themselves of the kind of a breakfast workshop meeting that we're going to have, I think they'd be interested in that. But Mika, maybe you would have more insights if they're relying on multiple listings and email technology, things of that nature. But we don't need to have too much of a sidebar on that. But
I'll get some input on it. I know that, for example, like you said, the NLS and they've got particular platforms that people gravitate toward, that they're just going to use because that's what that gives the most information available. But
You
I
see
think
a lot
it's a
more
great
video,
question.
for example,
Right.
with homes. It's not just an image. There's a lot more videos that are being used to show homes, and YouTube is one aspect of the social media.
Yeah.
So.
But surprisingly, it's a lot less of that than you would think. And the folks who are most successful seem to be the ones who are embracing the technology and using it to do more than what would be just the images.
I think they're actually slower in adopting.
But generally speaking,
No, I
it's-
think they are. I mean, they relied on the multiple listing service. They were computerized actually before anybody was, before most of the industries were in terms of getting out to the consumer. And Zillow and Realtor.com kind of took over, but I haven't seen it pushing past that.
yeah, it
So
seems
actually,
like
they were fast, and then
They
they kind of stopped. So I think that they may actually enjoy and learn something from coming to the breakfast. And then we can have a discussion with them, but that'll be way down the line.
That does bring up a good point, though. I mean, because when I said the word omni-channel, making it a little bit broader, and that because we do want to include the entire business community, and we don't want somebody to feel that they shouldn't be there if they're brick and mortar necessarily, and that there's still opportunities that marketing as a brick and mortar, you need to use these tools, and so I don't want to limit people thinking that it's just social media and being hesitant, saying, well, maybe this doesn't apply to me, so I'll talk to these guys and make sure that we frame it in a way that it's a very wide open marketing message, that we're focusing on some of these digital technologies, but it's appropriate for all the businesses in our community to attend.
Right. So moving on to the plan of conservation and development, I don't know if everybody's had a chance to look at a copy of it. The final public meeting was held last Monday, this Monday?
Wednesday.
It was Wednesday? Oh, it was canceled for Monday, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was last week. And it was postponed because of the blizzard that Boston got that we didn't get. It was interesting. I read through it. I was pleased with the fact that that POCD and Melonic Room looked at the work that we did with the Yellow River Workshop and incorporated many of it, and actually went further in the footprint than we felt comfortable doing in terms of recommendations for the more commercial area of town, what we call in the village of Woodbridge. I did notice that I was pleased that they have a trail actually coming down from above Brookside, a proposed trail, which means that if we're to apply for funding at all, if it's in the POCD from the state, we're more than likely to get it to help with building the stairs that would need to be built there. They overlooked the trail coming down from West Rock, but I pointed that I actually testified and pointed them out that they overlooked that. And in fact, when we went to P2 Sciences, the one thing that I think it was Patrick that asked is like, where can I run? Where can I hike? That was his first question was to me. So I think it's important to really get the proposed trail from West Rock into the POCD, so that if there's a chance for funding from the state through the Department of Environmental Protection, we can apply for it. The other thing that they put in, which I was pleased, was they did put a recommendation in for a dog park somewhere, which I think would be a welcome asset to the community. And I just thought they did a very good job. However, at the meeting itself, there were a lot of people who were very upset about the country club proposal, and so I think the tenor of the meeting was pretty antagonistic, because so many people at the meeting were concerned about the development of the country club. There was a lot of what I would call, not in my backyard, NIMBYs. One woman got up and testified how she loves living in a 2-acre zoning, Woodbridge. However, her street, which is right down the block from the country club, is a 1/4-acre zoning. But you can't imagine that they would ever change the zoning for Woodbridge. So there was a lot of people who were, a lot of neighborhood people and conservation people. And I'm not sure how the town will handle that. I think it's detracting from the POCD in some respect to have it at the same time. I think the town as a whole is going to have to make a decision about whether or not they want to increase the tax revenues and take some of the burden off the town from the purchase price of the country club by selling the land or part of the land, or if we just want to go along with the higher taxes necessary to support the open space there and the golf course. It really is, I think it's a decision for the town to make. We as the Economic Development Commission, of course, I mean, our goal is to increase the tax base of the town. So, but it's not for us to weigh in on it. We're not being asked to. Does anybody else have any comments about the POCD and where we are with it? Did anybody have a chance to? Anybody else have a chance to read through the proposals?
So I as well attended the hearing and also testified briefly. And I think that the POCD is a very thorough, very
the proposed
good document.
POCD.
The draft plan of conservation and development. It's a very comprehensive and it's really a very complete document. And the and Town Plan and Zoning presiding over the hearing did an excellent job. They were very, very attentive to the commenters at the meeting. They did quite seriously take the input from the public, which is really a very positive thing. I don't think I would use the word antagonistic. I think that it was a meeting of individuals, many of whom wanted to just voice an opinion and a viewpoint about parts of the plan of conservation and development. And there was one particular part that discusses a potential zoning change in the residential A district, which is up in this part of Woodbridge. So there were many comments about that. And I agree with Jody that it's the business of planning and zoning. It's the plan of conservation and development for the town. Economic development, we are really outside of that per se. But it's very encouraging that a lot of what was in the Yale Urban Design Workshop plan that this commission sponsored and was responsible for did get incorporated into the draft POCD. So really, really terrific to see that process at work. And in terms of the trails and the trail from Brookside down, as opposed to the trail from West River up to West Rock, if we have an opportunity, I don't know if there is an opportunity for any further input to the POCD, but if there is, we have material that we could.
Well, I think it would be helpful if you want to reach out to them and provide it to them.
Because we had an outline of scope for the trail. The Woodbridge Town Trail Master, Mike Walter, had surveyed the area. We looked at existing linkages and the ability to create a new trail. Completed a draft preliminary application to Connecticut Department of Energy and Environmental Protection. Submitted the draft to DEEP, and it was well received. And so we halted that effort and have a lot of material. I think that.
So if you do you have it electronically?
I have it electronically.
Okay, so if you forward it to me, and then I'll forward it to I guess to Jeff, who's chair. I'll forward it as chair of the EDC to make sure that he is aware of it, and to Ellen Scaltor just to make sure she's aware of it. I did notice when I was testifying that they did. Each of them actually took out their pencils and wrote down when I said that I thought they overlooked it.
Good.
So I think that I really felt that they were responsive, because I've had a conversation with Jeff at one of the charrettes about that, and it was really, I think, more of an oversight.
I think it was.
Yeah, it wasn't intentional. They were trying to. He said to me, "Oh yes, we need to include it," and then it just didn't make it.
Well, and there also at one time, it may have been in August or September. I know that there was a piece in the local Woodbridge paper about the West Rock Trail, and there was a photograph. I think Ellen was. There may have been a photograph, but there has been attention to the West Rock Trail, and I think hopefully it was just an omission.
I think it was just an oversight. So yeah, if you could forward that on to me, and I'll make sure and also copy
if you would
on it and on the correspondence. And that would be great. Jamie, I know we covered Exit 59 pretty extensively last meeting. Anything new?
I just reached out to the state earlier this week to see if there was an update available. Nothing more than we talked about last month, other than it's been confirmed that it is a breakout project from the overall one. They've defined it. They've got all the project numbers assigned to it. It is 100% state funded,
right.
So there's no need for any federal authorization, so no concerns that we should have any major holdups around funding. So it seems like it's moving along, and they send me lots of supporting information. I asked them to translate it, and I'm still having trouble understanding state DOT terminology. So I'm working through that now, honestly, trying to figure out because the first email came through with all these codes and everything. I still didn't get clarity specifically. I was trying to get the details of what we talked about last month, from the F to D or F to C or D to, I was trying to find some more detail on that.
I think Pua had it on. I looked at the PowerPoint or the demo that you had posted from the meeting at Sheridan.
The one in New Haven?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is it on YouTube? Where is it? I know you pushed it out to Facebook. I don't know where. It is where
the
Eliza.
DVD should be at the library.
Okay.
I'll check again.
Can you push the link to? Do you still have a link uploaded? Can you push that to me, and I'll push it to the commission, and that way we can all just look at it independently. Because I found that pretty helpful. Yeah. Because it's it's a picture's worth 1,000 words, and so they really had a lot of.
I just was hoping it was going to be in here, and it wasn't.
Okay.
In the follow-ups I got this week.
Great. Mika, if we move along to the website.
Not a lot, Jody. I haven't really been engaged in it the way that we have been in the past. Do need to reach out, Jamie, and see if we can reinstate that if you've got the energy and the time. See if we can get things going. At this point in time, I think the as far as next step is concerned, is to really review with Karen the list that we have. See what we can do about updating it as relates to telephone numbers, addresses, and just the basic information to make sure it's updated there. I had separated out the different information, and I talked about at one point in time about distributing it amongst the folks here just to see if we can go online or call the place and get the information if we want it. We can still obviously approach it that way. But I think at this point in time, it's overtime for a website subcommittee to happen. So that'll be the next step.
Great. And I think also if we maybe want to hold off till after the March meeting, because the March breakfast, because hopefully we can capture a lot of information. So if you just think about how you want to capture information from that meeting, from that breakfast,
Right.
I do think we're going to get a big turnout. I would anticipate we will.
Well, I'll also use that as a catalyst to see about getting things done in preparation for that meeting. So that if questions come up or people who had been to the last meeting ask about it, we have some things that we could show that are a little bit updated.
That'd be great. So if you can focus on that. And I haven't looked at, are we still rotating content? I haven't looked at it.
No, we haven't.
Okay, so maybe we want to start rotating. Can you talk to Betsy
Change some
about
pictures, yes.
Because Betsy's been updating the news part.
In
So
terms
she's
of-
got,
yeah,
I
in
mean,
terms
for
of-
example, we've got the UCAN Connecticut Magazine profiling folks. That link's on here. The P2 Sciences is on there. So at least when somebody's going there to the homepage, the current information is there. But we need to get Generation UCAN on the business list.
Okay, so can you make sure that someone in your office signs up to the website? Because you're now on our website actually. Okay. From with a link to, I guess, the link to the Connecticut Magazine article.
But we don't have the company, so that's
Right.
one thing that we have to do at these meetings, specifically make sure whoever our guests are, we make sure we capture their information. And,
That's a good idea.
Make sure that Betsy
Okay.
gets the email addresses to put them into her email database, because she did say, Nika, that she's got about 50 businesses in a separate email database that she's working on. So we keep adding to that from meetings like this and from our outreach breakfast.
Nika, can you forward the form to me, the link, and then I'll just
Yes.
forward it on to Peter and to Neil?
Sure.
Okay, I just don't know where it is at this point. That would be great. And maybe to Jamie also, we'll forward it to Talking Fingers and to Geometrics to make sure. Well, Geometrics I know is listed.
You're talking about the form to send in information?
Yeah, the link.
On this, just the link itself. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, just the link. Well, we need to do
on the link.
Okay. So
you
just a
sign
link
in,
to the website. I forward the link to the website, and then.
and you can input the
Okay,
information.
fine, got it.
on
Okay,
the website
okay, I can
itself.
do that myself then. We'll just make a note to do it.
Maybe I'm misunderstanding, Jody, but
No, you're not
the
misunderstanding.
business would just go on the website
Right, and then fill out the form.
Fill out the
No,
form.
you're not misunderstanding it. I
Okay.
assumed there was a separate link, but there's not. But if there was a separate link, it would be easier. We had it though, didn't we?
There's
Didn't we
a,
have it? Didn't we?
there is
We,
a-
There's
we
a
had
link.
it. We
There's
had
a
it.
link that goes
You know,
into
we
that,
had
yes.
it on the invitation list.
Yes.
So,
and there's a
I'll
link
just-
that,
yeah.
there's
Link.
a link that
Yeah,
will
I'll
take
just-
you
yeah.
directly there. If
Yeah.
That's what you're saying.
For
Yeah.
some reason, it's just the link isn't coming up. It's there, but I can't forward the URL because for some reason it's just saying woodbridgect.org. It's not giving the extension for
Okay.
some
To end
reason.
up in that specific form.
Okay.
Right, yeah.
Okay, I'll see if I have it. I think we had it on the breakfast invite last year. Now that I say it, so, but we'll get that to you and to P2 Science and have.
Do you have a card, Peter?
Sure.
If you have the card, I'm sure your link is on there, and we can probably put some information in there for you. Thank you.
Did anybody? I mean, I think we're doing a really effective job in reaching out to businesses, just bringing businesses in. I have to say, I like this new format. I feel like we're engaging in a meaningful way for ourselves as a commission and for the public who's watching on Channel 79. So I don't know if anybody's had any other outreaches this past month. If you want to discuss, if there's anybody you feel that we need to bring in, I think we actually have a pretty full slate. Trying to bring in all the food vendors, and then bringing in the commercial realtors, and eventually the residential realtors. But if you feel that there's somebody you've talked to that you want to bring in, just
I just think following on our theme of going into the summer, the sporting venues that we have, whether it's the tennis center or Everson, we have talked about that in the past, and maybe thinking down the line, we don't want to get too far into that sort of season when people. Not that tennis is year round, Everson's year round, but people start thinking about that. Soccer and stuff like that, soccer leagues as they're forming. Maybe we could do something like that in May, whether it's tennis, the tennis place, Everson, and whoever else we might have in sort of the sporting related side of things.
okay. I think that's a great idea.
It's a different theme, and then again, sort of feeds into the different things that the communities more engaged with. Maybe the pool clubs. I don't know if that's part of it. Whether it's the town one or the Woodbridge club.
I think yes, and yes, and we actually have 2 tennis clubs now. We have Oak Lane, which now has Bubble Up, which rents court time during the winter. I'm not sure what their financial model is in the summer, but we have them and Tennis Central.
And the Woodbridge Club.
And we have the Woodbridge Club and the Woodbridge Country, or the Country Club of Woodbridge, and the tennis. I'm sorry, and the soccer place. Is there anything else? There's actually 3 golf courses. I don't never.
Oh, that's right. That guy, he came to our outreach breakfast. The little one over
Homewood.
here.
So it's 2 tennis, 3 golf courses.
I don't know if you want to do the volleyball centers also.
Yeah, well, I'm thinking soccer,
That's
soccer
Everson.
volume.
Everson, yeah, they took over the whole thing.
Volleyball. There's the JCC, of course.
Sure.
I don't know if you want to include personal trainers as well. I don't know if that's. Are there any other personal trainers in tennis? CrossFit?
Not in commercial space.
Well,
there's CrossFit.
And there's you. Jody Fitness moved out, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. We can think about it. It may be too big. I'm not sure to have that many people, but we'll think about it as we go forward in the next few months. But I like that idea. Any public comment? Do you want to Peter, have anything else to add?
I'm having a blast.
What?
I'm having a blast.
Okay, great. And any other business that we have to cover this evening? Okay, then can we have a motion to adjourn at 8:35?
Motion to adjourn.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous? Great. Thank you.